Good, I suppose, is correct or something. Oh,
Oh, good lord.
that was a big old yawn, sir.
Yeah, it was. He says. Nope, that didn't lock it. That locked it.
There you go. Joe knows how to work a chair.
No, I don't.
Oh. Joe doesn't know how to work a chair.
It's not rocket science, so I don't know how to do it.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That actually checks out.
What have you been up to this week?
Nothing. I worked, and then I worked more. I did not do much else.
That tracks.
Yep. Because that's how life works out.
Right? Once you get over a certain age, everything just ends up being work.
Seems that way. The rest of the time is just waiting to go back to work.
Yeah, right? Oh, good lord, I don't know why I'm yawning all of a sudden, having yawned all morning, and suddenly it's just like, yawn, 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 yawn.
Did you sit down for the first time in a while?
No, I've actually been sitting on the couch drinking coffee.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
And watching
Something.
stuff on YouTube.
Watching brain working YouTube.
Well, various stuff on YouTube. Was watching, I was trying to think of what it was. Because I watched, I think it's Captain Excellent. Excellent?
Excellent.
Easter egg type stuff in video games. Because I was trying to remember, did I watch highlight reel last night when I got home? Which is highlights of video games, like stupid, weird stuff that happens in video games. It's pretty fun to watch if you like video games.
If you like video games.
I mean, if you don't like video games, but you like watching weird stuff, it still might be your thing.
That's
but
fair.
You generally, if you don't like watching like video games, you might not like watching video games. Just saying. I did play a little bit of Starfield yesterday.
Oh, yeah? And?
It looks really good.
Okay.
I only played maybe a half an hour of it.
So the intro mission, the build a character, and then
quit.
that's what I figured.
Yeah, because I had to go to work.
Boo.
I should have just taken the day off.
Right? Come on, celebrate the right way.
It is very much so a Bethesda game. Like, as much as it looks different in the original footage that they show, it's very much so a Bethesda game. You start off just as some no-name miner guy, finds the MacGuffin Halo piece.
The relic.
You get knocked out, you wake up, and then it's like, oh, you blah blah blah. Do you know who you are? And then it's just like character creator. And I spent like 15 minutes creating a character.
Only 15 minutes, huh?
I was in a rush.
Oh, that's fair.
Honestly, I was. Because it was getting close to time of like, I still need to take a shower, I still need to make my lunch, and this and that. And I'm just like, I create the character. Should I be doing this right now? Fuck it, I'm already halfway through it. Yeah. So I went with, once I got past the actual, like, create your face and how you look and stuff, and just kind of with the semi-basic character phase. Yeah, I'm the type of person that likes to try and put myself into the game.
Yeah.
In every game that I can create a character, I'm very similar, but I had one problem with it. There is no proper long hair in the game. Like they do have long hair in the game, but it's either more of a like ponytail or uh, like it has weird cuts or parts or something in it. Uh, so the haircut I ended up going with was a man bun.
Gross. Well, you gotta have a man bun to fit in this space helmet, right?
Yes, and that's the way I think of it too. But still, like, give me a proper like just all hair, long hair down
But
type of thing.
how often do you think you're gonna see that, though?
Well, you can actually switch to third person view.
Ew, gross. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding. I don't know why I said
it was
that.
literally the first thing. Like, I came out of the character creator. It was like, oh, so and so's here. Let's go visit them. And then a little pop up was like, hey, press this button to switch to third person view. And I was like, save quit.
I want to say, don't we see a lot of third-person view in the trailer, anyways?
Yes, we do. Yeah, you see a few scenes with third person from the back of your characters shooting at other characters and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that. I thought maybe it was all third-person until you went into like scoped weapons or something.
Mm. No, it's first person or third person, like many other Bethesda games. You can actually switch between first and third person.
Yeah, and I thought about that as like also scenes of being in first person while shooting guns that aren't scoped. So I guess that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah. So
That's
a little
cool.
disappointed about that. Got to have more hair options, for whatever.
I'll write a strongly worded email to Todd Howard.
Please.
Todd, listen,
Uh,
we
I
met
will
once.
say hair coloring wise, perfect. Like, they had, basically my perfect shade of going gray in there.
Going salt and
Otherwise, so
pepper.
perfectly fine. As far as like, because you get to pick, what is it, 3 character traits that define your,
Starting character.
or no, you pick the one character trait that defines like your character's background, and then you pick 3 perks. Uh, they're all very weird to some extent. The 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 character backgrounds,
Yeah.
especially coming from the fact like I went through all of this and then I went, didn't my guy start out as a miner? Like how is he a miner, and then he wakes up from this like uh, this epiphany of an artifact touch, and now he's suddenly an explorer. That's what I went with. But you could also be, like I think it was it long hauler or something like that, and then scoundrel, which is more of like your Han Solo type thing, which was the other one. There was like there's a bunch of them in there. I ended up going with explorer, but it was like, yeah, what do I want to do? Scoundrel to be more like the Han Solo type build, or do I want to do explorer? And I think, you know, for me personally, it was like, yeah, explorer sounds like it might be a little bit more interesting. So that's what I went with as the background. And then the perks are interesting because there's a downside for every upside.
Yeah.
And I don't remember all the perks, but like the top one was like alien DNA. And the little bit of background is just like you were injected with alien DNA at some time earlier in your life. So you gain like more health and what they call it,
Not stamina.
breath or oxygen or whatever it
Yeah.
is, because that's going to be a part of the game. Is how much oxygen you inhale. I'm guessing during space boot missions. Total guess, haven't gotten there yet. But because of that, health items like eating and whatnot don't do as much as they normally would.
Gotcha.
Or you would get things like if you joined this religion, you would get you'd be able to access their chests, essentially their loot chests,
Mm-hmm.
but then you wouldn't be able to access this other faction's loot chests.
Interesting.
It's really weird. So I went with introvert,
Shocker.
which means that when you're working by yourself, you get like I think it was a stamina boost. But when you work with others, you get a stamina loss or something like that. So what 3 did I go with? I went with that, I went with Universal Colony starting place. It only made sense with the Explorer class. Because that means that I'll gain access to their loot chest, but I lose access to something else loot chest. And what was the third one I went with? Now I don't remember. Introvert, United Colonies, and I don't remember what the third one was.
That's right. You only played for 30 minutes, so.
Yeah, right.
And from what I've read and seen in videos, those mainly go towards your starting, and then obviously your perks, like the main perks of the game, will obviously make your character better at things as you go through and you unlock those. But those opening ones are they're traits because they affect how the story plays out and how your character is. But for the most part, it doesn't affect weapon usage or skill based anything. So, for example, like lockpicking, you can still do lockpicking.
Yeah, you can still do that stuff, and the more you do it, the better that you get at it. So, like, I think some of the perks of the Scoundrel class were like you're better at like pistols or something like that. It's just where you start off, you're better at that than any other weapon. But you're right. Like the more you use an item or a weapon or do something, the more experience you get in it, and you level up in that category.
Yeah, which is cool because I don't want to be like pigeonholed only to be this. You know what I mean? I hate that when like, oh, you're only good at sharpshooting.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah. No.
Nope. I don't want that.
Like I want to be good at pistols because I want to be the gunslinger, but a lot of times a rifle is actually going to be a better thing to use. Yeah. So I do like that I'll be able to and basically my idea with the character is, obviously he's an explorer, he's not a fighter, but then eventually becomes a fighter type thing.
Brass tacks.
Yeah. And plus, being an explorer in a game about exploring alien technology, you get a bonus for deciphering alien text or something like that. I think it was. So there, to me, starting out there as well was like that makes sense in a game that I'm going to be exploring, alien artifacts. It might be beneficial to have some sort of leg up in understanding alien languages.
Yeah, since it seems that we're probably going to be delving into some alien type stuff.
Mm-hmm. But the game in all, especially on my new computer, looks really good. Plays really well. The only disappointment that I had in it, because I have an OLED monitor, it's strange that the menu, perfect blacks, looks awesome. But while playing the intro mission where you're wandering through a space mine,
mm-hmm.
All of the dark areas look grayed out, just washed out, gray. And I was sitting there going through the menu system looking for any type of brightness or contrast control. Nothing. Couldn't find it whatsoever. So I'm just like, well, this is upsetting.
Huh.
Like I'd want to be able to turn that contrast down, I guess, so that those moments that I'm inside of like a dark place, it looks darker instead of washed out gray.
I thought I was about to die.
Oh, don't.
I turned and
you're the one controlling this podcast. It was overhead.
Joe be stuck here forever. No, I leaned back, take a drink, and my chair went creak, and I was like, am I about to fall? But I didn't fall.
Oh, yeah, yesterday I did almost fall. And good thing I have a bed behind me. After playing through that 30 minutes of Starfield, I went to stretch and just went straight back in the chair. Yeah, it was pretty funny, to be honest. Yeah. But that's my 30-minute review of 30 minutes of playthrough of Starfield.
Fair enough, all right. It
was like 12 minutes, actually. My 12-minute review of 30 minutes of Starfield. looks like it'll be fun, but it honestly just looks like another Bethesda game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just with more
And
things to do. Well, sort
I
of.
will say at least it looks like a better Bethesda game. Obviously, they use a new graphics engine in this thing, updated, since they've been using the same graphics engine for so many years that everything just looks awful pre Starfield here.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that they've updated things. Graphics look so much better. Facial animations look so much better. Movements of characters still feel a little stiff,
Yeah,
like they are in previous games of Bethesda's, but
stupid
whatever.
real world physics.
Yeah, right. But that's basically the only thing I've done this week. Besides I finished watching The Mandalorian. Yeah, I finished watching The Mandalorian, and then I watched the first episode of Ahsoka.
So you watched season 3, Mandalorian?
Yeah, I finished season 3 of Mandalorian.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it always is good, but it was pretty good. How many episodes were there of Ahsoka? I'm trying to remember. I think I actually watched the first 2 episodes now.
So far, there's 3. Third one just came out on Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay, so there is a third one that I missed.
Yeah.
It's pretty good so far, but I do have one problem with it, with regards to the lore of it, because they do set that up in the Mandalorian where they talk about Thrawn,
yeah.
about being like this, big bad guy type thing.
Yep.
But they don't really do a very good job of setting up who he is. Like, I actually had to go and look up who the fuck is Thrawn and why is he this big bad evil guy, and then what happened to him. Like, I get that that's probably like a mystery maybe in the show, and that's how they want to play it. I don't know. But when you've already answered that question, if you watch, I guess, because he's from the Clone Wars TV show.
Rebels.
Right? Rebels.
Yeah.
But the animated show Rebels.
Yep.
But if you're going to bring him over from that, and you basically explained where he went or what happened to him in Rebels, like, it doesn't make sense of why you're keeping it such a secret in this show. These shows.
These ones, they're not keeping what happened to him a secret. Well, I mean, they are, because you don't really know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't know what. Like, when I went and looked it up, it's like, oh, he was in a battle of something or other, and then something. I'm saying something just because I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was some other species that were like warped him across the universe.
Yep.
So I also don't really understand like how you're going to have a map to him if he was just transported instantaneously across the universe to somewhere else. I don't know. There's a few problems that I have with just how they're setting things up. Maybe you can enlighten me on those.
So in the third episode, they actually they don't go into it. They hint at it, because if you've watched, because they assume that everyone has watched Rebels leading up to this, because it's more of a sequel to Rebels than it is The Mandalorian, because it's a spin-off more of The Mandalorian.
From Rebels.
Yeah.
Or
from Clone Wars and then Rebels. More so Clone Wars. The rest of the cast is more from Rebels. That's why everyone's like, why is this called Ahsoka? It's because it's actually, if you know about Ahsoka's past, because of the books and all the other stuff, she has more to do with Thrawn than the Rebels cast does. But the Rebels cast have characters linked to Thrawn because Thrawn was active at the time. I can't remember the name of the creatures, but they're essentially these celestial whales. Yeah, I know, it's Star Wars. It gets fucking weird. Space witches
Space
and
whales.
Fucking shit. Yeah, so it was cool because in the show, like, if you've seen obviously Rebels and stuff, in the third episode, there's a dog fight happening, and they're on this planet, or well, they're above this planet. Then they go into this planet, and then they revealed them to be there, and then my brain slowly clicked in. I was like, wait a minute. Now it makes sense why they're doing the thing they're doing where they are, because this is set up for that. Because there's in this, they're wondering, because if you obviously you've seen the first few episodes, they talk about how the star map they have is linking to another galaxy, which is obviously something that doesn't really happen too often in Star Wars. They're kind of in their own galaxy, which is obviously very heavily populated. And this is going to another one. And so they set that up to basically be, that's why they're there, and that's what they're doing, is getting ready to go to this other galaxy that could or couldn't be populated just as much. We don't know, because we don't have access to Thrawn, or we haven't had contact with Thrawn since then. But it was with the events of Rebels, what happened at the end, Ezra, who was kind of the main character of that show, was battling Thrawn and sacrificed himself to, everyone thought, kill Thrawn. But just like any Imperial officer of power, there's always a hint of he's still out there, because they don't ever really die. No body, no proof type thing, you know what I mean? So they hinted that in this third episode. They hint at something going on in the end of the second episode with the hyperdrive engine, and then they show the big ring that they're constructing, which, if you know Star Wars, is a hyperspace ring. It's designed to move large objects that don't have hyperspace engines to another place using hyperspace, because otherwise it takes literally forever to get places. Hence the reason. But it's on a much larger scale than anything they've seen before. So everyone online is assuming that Thrawn has a new Death Star.
Why? Why would you even assume that? He wasn't even, as far as I'm aware, involved in the Death Star plans.
No, that's what people jump to, is it's a Death Star. I'm like, it's a big ring. Plus, if you know anything, Death Stars have hyperspace engines.
Yeah, that's how they moved around.
Yeah, if you have a ship that big, you need that, because otherwise it would take forever.
Yeah.
Anywho, but I think it has to do with is it Mega Class Star Destroyer?
I don't know.
Which does have hyperspace engines, but it's they're too big to travel long distances with it, so they need that to move it to the new galaxy. But I also have a feeling it's for something else that I'm not smart enough to know or something. But anyways, but yeah, those space whales are what they use to travel farther. I don't remember the science or pseudoscience they used around it, but to answer your question, Thrawn and Ezra were destroyed. They disappeared at that battle when Ezra sacrificed himself and basically catapulted Thrawn and his ship to wherever they ended up, which is we've been told it's this place. But what was it? So in Clone Wars, no, Rebels. Don't remember. It's been forever.
Right.
There's all these little things. So, the different characters that are in there, there's a lot of they're hinting at past, because it's been multiple years since this. But Thrawn was in exile, self-made exile, because he wasn't really going along with the Emperor's plan. Mainly because he's a huge psychopath. He's I should almost say sociopath, but because less empathy than a psychopath would have. But he's essentially kind of like a space Hitler, but he doesn't want to he doesn't like, he's not like targeting a certain race or being. He just wants total dominance over the galaxy, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to do that. And he's a very bad person. So that's kind of like the overarching, hey, what's going on with him type thing. So this Ahsoka's not really obscuring what happened because they don't know what happened, because nobody knows what happened at the end of Rebels. So when the sacrifice happened and Thrawn was destroyed, ever since then it's been a mystery because they just vanished. There was no wreckage to go through and find bodies or evidence that they've died or anything like that. Which, if a starship blows up good enough, you're not going to have evidence a human being was on there, because like that's some real bad damage. But there's always that, hey, feeling that they're not dead or whatever. So there's a lot of that going on, and there's the new character they introduced in this show called Morok, I believe his name is. He's he fights. Did you watch? You watched both episodes so far, right? 1 and 2.
Yes, 1 and 2.
So he looks like an Inquisitor that Ahsoka fights on the when they're at the
ship is escaping and
people are saying that that's Ezra, which doesn't make any sense why he would be
turn dark side.
Yeah, like they would but also like why would he be fighting against his friends? Like he's the one that made the sacrifice, not them. Like they didn't tell him, "Hey, Ezra, kill yourself so you can kill Thrawn." Like he did it, and none of them wanted him to do it. So it'd be dumb if that was him because he's literally actively trying to kill him. That's just ridiculous to me. Then there's people who are saying that it's Starkiller, who was from the Force Awakens games. Or not Force Awakens, Force Unleashed games.
Yeah.
But also that doesn't make sense because he turned against the dark side.
Right.
And went against Emperor Palpatine and Vader.
It'd be a weird thing to input into this show.
Yeah, everyone wants these characters to be back. And the thing is I
would want these characters to be back too, but you run into a big problem with bringing in Starkiller as well, because he was like very powerful with the Force, being able to pull down Star Destroyers out of space.
And the fact that he wouldn't be a puppet for someone else because he was already an assassin.
Yeah.
And he learned from that and realized that obviously, spoiler, he's a clone. And doesn't
he die at the end of one of the?
He dies at the second one, I believe. Well,
second one
dies at the end of the second one. Again, because no one ever really dies. So people are like, I'm like, that's the biggest cop out ever. Like, yeah, he's got a cloaked face or whatever, right? But why would he be actively trying to kill his friends?
Yeah.
Even if he's like dark, like deep cover, this dude was legit trying to kill Ahsoka, and even in this new episode, also trying to kill Ahsoka. So like, it just makes no sense to me. But whatever, maybe there's some fucking Force trances in or something. I don't know, whatever. But it was just I think that battle was cool, and then like Ahsoka's like, nah, homie, and then he's like, okay, hold on, double bladed saber, gotcha. But yeah, so there's that, but it's just it's a good time to watch. It's good times. It's fun watching.
It's very beautiful. It is very well shot. It is its own type of show, where like Mandalorian gives you very much so a Western and space vibe. This gives you very much more of a, I don't know, I can't think of it, but it's more of an action adventure movie, but it has its own vibe and looks really nice. Yeah. Sounds really cool too.
Yeah, no, the sound quality is fucking tremendous.
Mm-hmm. I love watching this type of show because I have that Hue Play light attached to the back of my TV.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, anytime like the lightsabers are going, the backlights are just going at it as well in sync. Space fights are just awesome to watch. You see the red lights just shoot across the behind the screen. It's so awesome.
I actually forgot. Forgot. I haven't seen you since last week. But I met a customer who built his own custom system to
Hmm.
go by lighting,
Hmm.
and he utilized the Hue hub,
Hmm.
only because like it was easier to use that to control via HDMI signal. But I
Hmm.
guess I don't know. He was talking to me, and it was like he's
Yeah.
fucking way smart. But he basically wrote a program that will mimic light movement, so not just
Hmm.
light effects, but light movement. And he said he was watching Ahsoka, and the colors of the lightsabers were moving in sequence on the wall, so it looked like the beam was going past the wall. I was like,
It's
"What?"
dope, right? Like
Yeah,
that sounds like a way more intense setup than I have, but when you have that type of setup, it enhances it so much.
yeah.
It's
He
so much fun. Like I forget that I have it half the time, but when I am watching something and I'm like, "Oh dude, wait, let me turn on the backlights for this thing." And it enhances that visual experience so fucking much.
Yeah, it was
It's
crazy.
awesome.
He was telling us about it, but he had we were not fixing his TV. We were there fixing his dishwasher, but um, he was messing with stuff, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I was doing this and this," and he had just pulled it all apart, and he was working on other stuff because he's getting ready to put a projector up,
Hmm.
and he wants to somehow figure out the lighting system to work with that because right now it's mounted behind his TV, but the projector screen is going to come down in front of the TV, which means it's going to block the wall.
Yeah, means you have
So
to have a much bigger light source or make it much brighter. Like it
yeah,
still would probably be possible with the Hue system, but yeah,
yeah, he was saying he has to figure out how to make it so it's can work with the screen because the screen is so much bigger. It has a 120
exactly.
inch, 120 inch, something like that screen
Yeah.
that he has. And he hasn't figured it out yet. So he thinks he's gonna mount it because he's doing one of the one that's a hidden screen. So when it goes up,
Hmm.
you don't really see it. So he can't really mount it to the back of
The
the
projector
screen.
screen.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because it would just roll up right into it and probably ruin the screen itself.
yeah. So he's trying to figure out how to do that properly, and then also obviously have it work with the system because it's two different ones.
Hmm.
Like it's essentially two different systems.
Right. How
So
do you switch between the two? Yeah.
yeah. So he's working on
But
that right now, but he was all about it, and I was like, damn, bro.
right, to have that type of money just to be able to play with that type of stuff.
Yeah, he's a some kind of doctor. He said I don't know. So, but real smart on both things apparently, because he
That's
was.
good.
Yeah, I was like, God dang, man.
That's so awesome.
I just don't. I don't know, man. I can't see myself wanting that.
It's one of those things. Like I said, I would never have bought it full price.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, getting it through the accommodation prices that we get brings it down a lot, even though it's still expensive. It is not something you absolutely need, and it's something that I forget about that I even have half the time. But obviously, lately, just watching YouTube stuff, you're not going to want that type of thing on YouTube anyway. It doesn't enhance anything. But it is those few times where you're like, I feel like watching. Like this weekend, I'll probably watch The Flash, since 3 day weekend for us. Uh,
For you.
and watching it with the lights turned off in the house so dark and having those lights going on in the background, like any explosion lights up the room with those things. That's the thing that it does, is it just enhances what you're already watching,
Yeah.
especially if it's a very bright or well uh, colored media. So I haven't really watched anime, but I have I know a guy at work who has the same system and watches anime, and he says like all the really colorful animes look really cool with it, and but I just love action sequences inside of Star Wars, like just to watch the green and red lasers go back and forth across the screen, but also go just behind the screen is really cool to watch. Uh, Sequences like if you were watching the original Star Wars, where you have that fight going across the screen, just kind of goes in through the top of the screen
Yeah.
look really cool as those lights are just going back and forth, and you just get the one solid like white light from the ships slowly come in and fill up the rest of the screen, because you have black essentially for the rest of the screen to simulate space, and then just the light coming across the top. Yeah, and like I said, any explosion just lights up the room in orange, usually, because that's the color of explosions in movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks about it is you do have those sequences, and Ahsoka was one of them, where you have more dark scenes,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you would just swipe to a fucking bright screen scene, and so the backlight would just go bright white, and it's just like, oh god, my eyes.
My eyes don't work no more.
But it is kind of cool in that sense of where it's like, yeah, it's like walking out from a dark place and into the sunlight. Your eyes do have that like, oh god, and then it adjusts real quick. So it is more immersive to me to have something like that. But it is, like I said, I would never have bought it if I didn't get some sort of accommodation on the price. So to your point, yeah, even with accommodation, it still ended up costing like 300 something bucks for it.
Yeah.
For the whole system. So yeah, it's not something that I really would suggest most people getting, because it is a very superfluous thing to have. But if you have the space for it, and that's another thing for you, I don't remember how you have your room set up anymore, but from what I do remember, you have all those shelves around your TV.
I used to.
Wouldn't work that well with all those shelves around it.
Yeah, no, because now it's just I have the shelf above it, but the ones behind it, because I have it wall mounted now with the newer TV, so it would be a little different, but yeah,
So it might work better, but it does work best in a situation like I have at my house, where you have just a white wall, just big empty white wall behind it, because then the light just really spreads out over that wall. Yeah, but I think it's cool.
Well, that's cool, Joe, as long as you enjoy it. That's all that matters.
I enjoy it. I was thinking about maybe when Dune 2, just before Dune 2 comes out, having some people over, and I buy or rent or something like the 4K version of Dune. Or did you know that Dune released in 3D?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a 3D Blu-ray out.
Oh, I don't know.
They do. No, I'm not saying. I'm not asking.
Was it sold here in the States?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking about getting that, and we can go and watch Dune in maybe 4K or in 3D. Oddly enough, the backlight doesn't work with 3D content. Don't know why. Probably because it can't read 3D content.
Yeah, that'll be something with it on there. Yeah,
no,
it's
because the way the box works is it obviously has to be able to process the image for it, and so then it looks at the colors that are around the outside of the screen. But since it came out after 3D had already basically been put to sleep as a format, it doesn't take into account how to read 3D format. So it'll pass it through, but it has no idea how to read the 3D format, so it doesn't know how to project the colors on it.
Do you have a 4K Apple TV?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because Dune is 4K on Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched it like 15 times, so.
So that's what I'm saying.
I was just looking up the 3D
that's like
one.
Sometime in November when Dune 2 comes out.
No, sir. That shit got delayed, brother.
Oh, did it? I didn't hear about that.
Yep.
When did it get delayed to?
March.
March?
Yep.
March.
See if I remember the correct.
So November, December, January, February, March.
March 15th.
Months.
Because of the strike.
But it was already done.
Right? I mean, yes, but they need people to promote it, and they can't. As part of the strike, you can't have.
Itself.
Yeah, I mean, sort of. Yeah, it's a hot mess right now for that, but it's one of the movies that got pushed.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in March, sometime.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool, March, awesome, yeah.
Are we just going to hit a point where the strike continues on, and we just get no new anything?
Yeah, they're gonna rely on a lot of anniversaries of stuff and re-releasing of stuff, because they're not gonna have anything to put in theaters.
That's going to be so weird.
It's gonna be like
If we get
COVID,
to
but
that
like
point.
business related.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing we're gonna have is we're gonna have independent films, which that's not gonna drive movie theaters. You're gonna have stuff made in out of the country, because like Europe and like UK, because they're a different union.
Uh-huh.
That's why right now there's stuff going on, because of international film isn't affected by the writers of America, and the directors of America type thing. So like that's obviously will help, but I mean, we're not getting blockbusters out of them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. Because even if it's March 15th, if God forbid the strike is still going by then, they're still not going to have anybody to promote the movie. So they're going to do it. But I think that they're saying that, but I think it's a lot of the fact is they don't have movies that are going to be finished by then, so they have to fill those gaps with movies that are finished. And same thing with TV shows, because they're already delaying stuff on TV like that's supposed to premiere this year. They're looking at putting them back to next year because they won't have new seasons of what's happening now coming out then because of the strike.
Wow.
Yep.
Really sad to think.
Speaking of movie stuff,
Oh.
did you know that Chris Farley was originally cast as the voice of Shrek?
Yeah. In fact, he actually had a bunch of lines that he had already done.
No, he had all the voice lines done.
All the voice lines done. Yeah.
And then when he was basically passed away, obviously, so he couldn't finish the film because of whatever, obviously re-recordings or whatever. They hired Mike Myers, and he requested a whole rewrite of the movie.
Right, because he wanted to do it in a Scottish accent or something like that.
Not just that, but he wanted no trace of Farley's version
right
to happen, which is wild.
It's wild to think, and apparently he's a bit difficult to work with, but it does kind of make sense in a way. Like, yeah, it sucks as like this was Chris Farley's last movies, but at the same time, if you're going to put your name on it, you kind of want your content in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found another weird movie thing I didn't know. Is you remember Inglourious Bastards?
Yes.
Okay. Quentin Tarantino has fucking
Tarantino, Brad
everybody.
Pitt, and a bunch of other stuff, and wild Nazi killing.
Yeah. So do you remember the Bear Jew?
Yeah.
Played by Eli Roth.
Yep.
Do you know his cast originally in that? But he
I
couldn't.
don't remember, but it wasn't. Wasn't it somebody that really wanted to do the role? He was. Ah, God, what was it? Yeah, I've heard this.
Adam
This,
Sandler.
Adam Sandler, yeah.
Bro, can you imagine Adam Sandler coming out of that hallway with that bat, getting ready to fucking bash Nazi heads in,
Right.
all jacked, all just ripped? Bro, I was like, what? That's fucking wild. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it the same if he's doing like a Billy Madison there fucking voice coming out of the hallway,
It's been so awful.
holding a bucket of KFC or some shit, as he likes to do with his movies. But yeah, I was like trying to think in my brain, like, what would that look like? What would that be like?
It'd been different.
Because it was like that reveal of the Bear Jew is one of the best character reveals in any movie, like of all time. And then if you can imagine just like goofy ass Adam Sandler trying to be real serious, walking out, I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's because my brain just jumps automatically to Eli Roth coming out and like being all menacey. But I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that'd be the same.
Well, especially with, like, I still have yet to see Uncut Gems, so I don't know how well Adam Sandler performs in a more serious role. Obviously, he does pretty well from what I hear. But back when Inglourious Bastards came out, which was 2000 something.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, 2009 or some shit.
I mean, he's still known as that quirky comedy character to me.
Yeah,
You say Billy Madison, I that's what I hear when I hear Adam Sandler. I hear that like I like Adam Sandler, but he does that damn voice in way too many movies.
yeah,
That that's what I associate him with. So when you say him possibility of playing the Bear Jew, all I hear is just that him coming out and just talking like he does in like Billy Madison or any other of his other movies, just in that weird voice that he does, and I'm just like, God, that'd be so awful and weird.
yeah. I said the same. I was like, no, please
If
no.
you played it more straight, it would have been it probably would have been funny and fun.
Yeah,
But all I can hear in my head is that Billy Madison voice that he does,
yeah. So I mean, I was like,
or little Nicky voice.
yeah, like I could, yeah. I mean, he could do it. The Uncut Gems, he was really good in that. What was the name of that fucking basketball movie on Netflix? Was it Hustle?
Basketball movie. Oh,
Not Hustle.
God,
Was it Hustle? What was the name of that fucking movie?
I honestly have no idea. I never watched it.
I did. Because I heard it was good, and it was. Adam Sandler. That needs a space in it, Cody.
Hustle.
Is it Hustle?
It looks like Hustle. There's a basketball on the
Yeah,
cover.
that's the one. I knew it was called Hustle. I was just testing you. Yeah, no, that's another good more serious role that he was in. Trying to think of, I don't want to say drama, but definitely goes away from like the other stuff that he had recently, like his movies, but like the murder mystery type stuff where it's more comedy based and things like that. So
I was actually just going to mention my over at my was it last week or the week before? No, my parents were sick last week, so the week before when I went over for dinner on Sunday, they were watching Murder Mystery 2.
oh
I never even knew that he made these movies. Murder Mystery 1 came out in 2019.
yeah,
It's him and Adam Sandler. It's him and Jennifer Aniston.
yep,
It's not a great movie, but it was not a bad movie.
yeah. No, they're fun.
Murder
They're
Mystery
definitely
2.
not.
Yeah.
They're not Murder on the Orient Express, but they're fun
Or
movies.
The Glass Onion or anything like that.
Yeah. They're just more.
But they were fun movies.
Yeah.
Or it was a fun movie. I didn't watch the first one.
Yeah. No, first one's really. I haven't watched the second one yet, but the first one was really fun. It's just ridiculous. And then like, I didn't watch. What was that one called? The one where he played the one guy.
The one where he played that one guy. Was it a newer one?
Yeah. I'm trying to pull it up again. I went away from the screen I was on.
The one where he played that one guy. Nope, that's not what I want to click on. Where is
Sandy
IMDb?
Wexler. Sandy Wexler is the one I was thinking of.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, he plays Sandy Wexler. I never watched that one. But
What was that?
2016, right? 2017.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there it is. I think I heard about it, but I never watched it. Obviously, I never watched it.
Anywho, last thing I have is, have you heard or seen the Lenovo Legion Go?
No, I don't think so.
It's the newest portable PC
Oh,
that goes
yeah,
with
it's
the ROG.
handheld thing. Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. Yeah.
So it now has an official cost and release period. I hadn't seen much about this one. Mainly because I don't really dive into it, but obviously I read news and stuff. But it actually has it's very much like the Steam Deck, but also like the Switch, because the controllers can be detached.
Okay.
And it has a kickstand, so you can put it on there. Pretty interesting little thing. It's $699 for the base model, which is a 256 SSD, but also has the ability to play games from micro SD cards.
That's cool. Okay.
So that's pretty. Obviously, you probably want to use like the ultras, so you have that faster rewrite speed. Because obviously
Right.
you need that. But it has it has two basically viewing modes for screen wise. One is at 1600p at 144 hertz, and then a slimmed down version which basically helps with processing and battery, which is 800p at 60 hertz.
Okay.
And then it can be docked and played through for bigger screens, obviously, much like the Steam Deck and the ROG have. The Ally, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then has ability to do. It has a 49.2 watt hour battery, which is obviously the limitation to most of these is battery power, because it's going to be consumed by processing all that fun stuff. But can get to, according to Lenovo, can get to a 70% charge in 30 minutes with its fast charger that it comes with.
That's cool.
Which actually comes with, so that's even better. And then it has, like I said, it has the ability to do, docking, so it can be bigger screens and obviously help with battery and stuff like that. But then they also announced another thing to go along with it, which is called the Legion glasses.
Okay.
And they are wired glasses that have micro OLED displays that'll let you view a large private screen. So you can play, obviously, still on the device, but through these glasses, you can have a much bigger screen than what you would be on the 8.8-inch screen they have on the unit itself.
That's cool.
And
That's the one cool thing about it, as long as it's not proprietary.
So that's the thing, is it says that it has the ability to be plugged in through USB-C video or in display ports.
It just means it works over USB-C
Yeah.
display.
And then also has high fidelity audio because it has built-in headphones in it, or speakers in it. I mean, so it's interesting to see. So it doesn't say anything about being exclusive for a dedicated type thing. It just says the glasses enable portable large screen experience with the micro OLED display that can be push 1080p resolution at 60 hertz refresh rate for each eye.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you said they didn't say a price on it?
$349 for the glasses, $699 for the Go.
$349 for those glasses is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Especially if it's micro OLED. I mean, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, so I mean I was reading this off of Polygon, which after reading this article I realized why I don't like Polygon as much, because their stupid editorial nonsense they throw in.
So looking at Ars Technica, it says that the Go has the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme in it, like the ROG Ally does.
Yep.
So it's going to be up to snuff. Let's see. The battery is larger than the Steam Deck, it says. It doesn't say what the size of the Steam Deck or the Ally are, but you're right, 49.2 watt hour battery. But it says it's bigger than both of those, so it should last longer.
Yeah. I can't remember, is it Gizmodo I saw said that that battery is bigger than both, and will have a good amount of time. They don't say how much time it has, but because of a slightly bigger screen and higher resolution, that it would probably chew that down. But it running at the economy settings with 800p at 60 hertz, you'd get a battery lasts longer than both the Ally and the Steam Deck.
I'm trying to see where this article mentions. It mentions the glasses, but it doesn't. Where are they?
Gizmodo has them further down. It shows the front end of them look like sunglasses.
Yeah, like there's a picture here that shows them.
Oh, so yeah, so this one says the Legion glasses are compatible with most Windows, Android, and Apple devices that use USB-C.
Yeah, there it is. So and there's optional Lenovo Legion glasses, which can purportedly project a virtual 86-inch display onto your vision, augmented reality style. If I click on that link, does it? Yeah, it actually takes me to them. They look like Ray-Bans. Like
yeah, they do.
Looking Ray-Ban, which I don't really care for, but whatever. $329. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Black. What was the resolution on the screens?
1080p.
Display. Yeah.
1080p, 60 hertz.
60 hertz.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Ooh, they are thick.
Yeah.
The lenses on them are like Coke bottle.
Yeah, dude, they're pretty hardcore. But you got to remember, you got OLED screens in them with all that processing in the actual glasses.
Which is true. So. I also just wonder how this will work with people that have to wear glasses. Probably won't work very well for them.
So on this other one, I didn't look at the website. They show some kind of insert.
So maybe they do have a way to do.
Yeah.
You can buy inserts based on what your correction is.
Yeah, I guess
that's cool for that.
I'd have to look into it more, but like I said, I saw it this morning because they announced it yesterday apparently, and I didn't see anything about it, and I was like, oh, I gotta read about this, But
skimming through the rest of this article, the other thing I have a question about, one of the last paragraphs on Ars Technica says, or second to last, says, the specs look impressive. The AR glasses and RGB gaming headphones with 7-point surround sound audio. You can take or leave. But I don't see where it mentions anything about headphones.
The Polygon, where'd it go? One didn't say anything about a separate headphones that I saw. It just talked about the built-in speakers that have high fidelity audio. I didn't think about headphones.
Yeah, it's a weird statement because I don't see anything about headphones in here either, and they just barely gloss over the glasses. It links you to another article to talk about the glasses. Weird.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't see it in the other two articles that I found quickly. I didn't really do much research. Like I said, I found it right before we started recording. But I didn't see anything about headphones. I just saw pretty much the same specs and breakdown of the Legion Go, and then the little blurb about the glasses, and that was it.
With all this said, though, I don't know how if I had a choice between the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, or the Legion Go, I'd still probably choose a Steam Deck.
The Steam Deck. So all of these. So what I was reading on I don't remember if it was Gizmodo or if it was the other one I was reading. I should think they're both Gizmodo ones. The biggest limitation that they see was the fact that the Ally and the Legion Go, will run the desktop version of Steam, where the Steam Deck has their own Steam OS.
Yes.
So I guess it's a more seamless play on the Steam Deck. But the Ally and the Go are full Windows 11.
Which is cool, but part of the problem that I have with it is that Windows 11 obviously isn't, tiny game device ready type thing. And while the ROG Ally, from reviews that I've seen, is able to handle that pretty well, it still has its shortfalls when relying on Windows itself. Like if Windows itself had a new mode where it's just handheld gaming mode, I think it would work a lot better. That's not that huge of a downside, I guess. It's more of a software thing. The other problem I have is I don't really see a whole lot of articles about it, but reading about stores and working in the service center,
Yeah.
apparently, like, there's tons of problems with the ROG Ally. Like, so much so because they don't go to our service center to get fixed, they go to 1320 to get fixed.
Yeah.
Apparently, and I could be wrong, if I could be misremembering, but 1320 said that in a comment somewhere said that they had like 1,000 of these things sitting there waiting to get repaired because of various overheating issues and other board issues that they're waiting on Asus to come out with a new revision of a motherboard to fix a lot of these issues.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're sitting on tons of them.
You got to think. So the Steam Deck we heard about years prior. Like they've been working on this like before it was even called the Steam Deck. I can't remember what they were referring to as. But it's been, and it just seems like once that came out, these other ones were starting to pop up, which obviously it's not just like, oh, we just made it real quick. Obviously they've been in development because you just can't do it.
Even Asus has said that they've sat on the idea of the ROG Ally for years, and only since Steam came out, the Steam Deck came out and showed that it is a viable product now that they finally released it.
Yeah, but you obviously you just built a brand new computer. So you know what goes into building a computer that's stable enough to run these newer, fancier games, even at not the super ultra high resolutions and settings. Just let alone you need like a good cooling system in these, be it a water cooled or a liquid cooled system, whatever you want to call them. You know, something. You don't just take this, like, there's a reason you don't use, like, the one right out of the box for the most part to, like, cool your CPU and even sometimes your GPU.
It just barely gets you running.
Yeah, like, it can run Windows, but once you start pressing that for more power to run these games, you're going to run into heat. So I'm like, your brother has a Steam Deck. I don't know how warm it gets when it runs.
I believe it gets fairly warm. It does.
Yeah, so I mean, that just right there automatically makes me think that eventually you're going to have some kind of system failure in it. That when you want to cut costs to make it lighter and cheaper to make, but you run into the whole heat issue. Like I remember, like my old PC, which has been years since I actually used it, but I bought a Tai Chi case. It was the model from what's that brand? Thermalworks? Thermaltake, yeah. And the actual case is a heatsink. So it's designed to dissipate heat from the interior outward so the case doesn't get hot, because obviously it's going to help heat your room up if you're, in a smaller room or an office somewhere. If your computer's generating heat, it has to go somewhere. It has an exhaust fan, but the case itself with that, but like that case also weighed like 40 something pounds. But that was back in the day, and that I had the liquid cool and all the cool fancy stuff with the exterior radiator and all that nonsense. They go a little too out of hand with when we were building it, but you got to think like performance of these games has gone up since then, and you're trying to cram Cyberpunk, for example, on a Steam Deck or on an Ally or on a Go, and that game has a lot of shit running in it, let alone like the fact that some of these newer games, Starfield, for example, has a shit ton of stuff going on in it. All these bigger games that you want to play on this computer on the go, I just can't see them ever performing as well.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to perform as well as on the desktop. I think they do perform well enough to put on a small display. So I would, if I traveled more places, the idea of being able to like sit down at my computer, play a game, and then be like, oh, I've got scheduled to go, travel to another state, and I have a Steam Deck or something, and all my saves just sync over to the Steam Deck, and I just take the Steam Deck with me, is a really good proposition to have, or even the ROG Ally or something like that. But I think I still would go with the Steam Deck just because I know it has less issues with it than the ROG Ally does. And plus, I'm not a huge fan of Asus right now with all the dumb stuff that they've been doing. Plus, I work on their shit like nonstop.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's an economy of scale type of thing, meaning that most stores sell Asus stuff because they assume it is the best of the best type stuff, or if it's a higher failure rate type thing. But we get so many Asus laptops in. It's ridiculous, and I'm so sick and tired of looking at Asus stuff. I'm so sick and tired of repairing Asus stuff. So that's another reason why I'm just like, I don't really care for Asus stuff right now.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
but then, like, at the same time, do I go to Lenovo for gaming stuff? No. I would be afraid of Lenovo saying, yeah, this didn't really work out, so we're not going to support it anymore.
yeah.
Much like Google or something. That's another reason why I don't buy Google products anymore, because, within a year, they could shut something down and just be like, yeah, that didn't work out. I mean, look what happened in Stadia. There was something else that just happened not too long ago I read about from Google. Something about buying there was a certain phone that you could buy, and then you got access to 2 years of like an Apple One type subscription service where you got Google Play, you got YouTube TV, and then a couple of other services. I can't remember which ones, but you were supposed to have 2 years of this service for free, and they canceled it after 18 months.
Sounds very Google.
It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't understand how people can be so pro Google products when they have this horrible track record of just like canceling things.
Yeah.
And stopping supporting them. Like, I know there's a whole Wikipedia page full of just products that they started and then just stopped supporting and pulled the plug on. It's ridiculous to me and kind of infuriating.
Yeah.
But that's to my point of like if I had a choice between these three products, I'd probably still go with Steam Deck, even though what is the screen? What is the screen on the Legion Go? Is it
8.8
an OLED screen?
It's they list as an LED.
Oh, it's an LED screen, but it's probably a better screen resolution. It says it's a 256 by 1600, 16 by 10 ratio, 144 hertz screen. So it's I think that is definitely bigger and better than the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So that's tempting. Like, screen size and quality in such a small device is probably the driving force for me when buying something like that. But also reliability and ease of use, and whether it's going to be supported into the future are much bigger things that I take into consideration.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steam Deck would probably still be the one to go to. But it is cool. I'm glad that more companies are coming out with stuff like this, and hopefully it just continues to be supported.
Yeah. Also, like the Steam Deck, it's gonna sound fucking elitist and stupid, but at this point, I should say, I would almost say I would wait for a Steam Deck 2
right
to come out, just because I know they're gonna fix and alter and adjust, because obviously, I mean, the pre-order period was like almost 2 years.
Was it?
Something like that. Like, it was super long. You could put a pre-order in, and it was like almost 2 years before you got a device. You know what I mean? Because like they showed all these ones, and even like the prototype ones they showed end up looking different than the release model, because obviously fix things and through production and stuff like that. But it'd be interesting to see what the second iteration of a released version would look like. Obviously you're probably going to have a bigger screen, probably like an OLED style display. It's going to be thinner. It's going to be lighter, probably have better battery life. If not, bigger and better batteries to do it. Larger storage options. The OS itself could probably be updated to be utilized a little differently. Because again, the one of the cool things, and I'd have to look up the Ally. One of the cool things about the Go is the fact you can run games off of the micro SD card, because Windows allows you to run media or games off of a separate media versus the internal drive. Because
does as well, and I know for a fact the Steam Deck allows you to do that as well.
Yeah, so little things like that would just be cool to have. But I mean, I still don't have a need for it whatsoever.
No, again, like I said, if I traveled, if I did stuff outside of house,
Yeah.
I definitely could see a use for it. But no, not right now.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
have a use for it.
Nah, homie.
Yeah.
All right, well, producers give me the signal. Yeah, wrap it up. All right, wrap it up. All right, cool. That has been this week's episode of Comes Naturally. We have been
Joe.
I've been Cody, and usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.